and the third seed, excuse me, coming into the elimination rounds.
Yeah, and you're definitely right about Black-White Control. I mean, there are certain cards that he has, like Dross Messenger, Disciple, Bolas, Oblivion Ring, Sign in Blood, that if he draws that half of his deck early on, he might not be able to overcome like the Strangler guys and the Flints, and the Hell Riders that Adam's going to be presenting. However, I still think there's enough obnoxious cards that Red Green has to deal with, and the fact that Zachary's on the play, I think, also helps them out a lot.
Schulz is going to start from the Orzhov Guildgate. Van Fleet going to very quickly play an Elvish Mystic and pass the turn back. So Mana Acceleration is here. We'll see if Schulz wants to maybe save a removal spell for a better creature like a Hellrider or Gorkline Rampager, or kind of stop the acceleration and take care of the Elvish Mystic.
And it looks like Zachary drew a Mutilate for the turn, so he has a Mutilate in his hand. But it looks like his deck can never Mutilate for more than 2 or 3 maybe on turn 3. So
here's a turn 2 Domri. Going to look at the top of the deck, see if it's a creature, and it is.
Wow.
Strangleroot Geist going to go to the Rip, so that's a fantastic turn, too, for Van Fleet.
Great turn there. Domri very good against a mid-range control deck like Zachary's, and to hit a Strangleroot Geist off it, too. That's another just annoying threat that Zachary has to deal with.
Yeah, all the haste creatures are going to be coming here momentarily. You see Schulz has not gone to his turn just yet. Maybe considering killing this Elvish Mystic, but he's just going to take a draw step. He does have a Mutavault in his hand, draws an Isolated Chapel, and I'm kind of with you. The thing that kind of makes it kind of difficult on these black-based control decks that do play Mutilate is that while they do have, in Schultz's particular, he has 12 Swamps and 4 Goblet Shrines, so 16 Swamps. Never seems like they can Mutilate for quite enough.
Yeah, especially early on when they need to Mutilate. They usually have an Isolated Chapel in play or a Guildgate or a Mutavault or something, so they can do it for 2 or 3, which sometimes could be enough, but in general, though, it feels like it's just not quite enough to get there.
You'd like your Mutilate to be for -4/-4 on turn 4, because it does act like a Wrath at that point. You'll see Liliana, the Veil, come down, take care of that Elvish Mystic. Van Fleet's going to untap, still has a Planeswalker of his own in Domri, and we might see him check the top of his deck to begin his turn. But this is a Rootbound Crag, and now we take a look-ski.
Yeah, this is a pretty unfortunate situation for Zachary, because he basically just cast a Liliana, but he knows that he's going to face a Strangleroot Geist potentially this turn, so that Liliana is likely not going to be in play much longer, so it's more or less a 3-mana removal spell.
Yeah, if Van Fleet wants to kill it, he certainly has the option. Schulz is fully aware of this, of course, because Domri did reveal Strangleroot Geist. You see Van Fleet considering his options. Looks like he has a Scavenging Ooze in his hand as well, so does he want to take a slower approach? Maybe lets Schulz bring up Liliana to 2, or does he just want to Strangleroot Geist and get this thing out of here? Okay. Yeah, and that's exactly what he's going to do. The 2/1 Haster is going to take care of the Planeswalker. Schulz going to untap his 3 lands. We do know that he has another land in his hand, so getting to 4 won't be tough. And Oblivion Ring, actually a pretty good draw this turn.
Yeah, it's a good way to deal with Domri Red right here. Again, you might you could think about getting rid of the Strangleroot Geist because the Undying ability is tough for you. But I think you want to get rid of Domri here. You don't want to have Adam, especially since Adam missed last turn. You don't want him gaining any more advantage than he already has.
Yeah, we know the top card is likely to be a land. Of course, Van Fleet does have 3, as far as spells are concerned, he has 3 Mizzy Mortars and 4 Domri, so it could be one of those 6 other cards, but likely to be a land on top. Oblivion Ring is going to take care of that. Here's an Isolated Chapel, and Schulz is going to pass the turn back. You see Van Fleet checking to make sure that Schulz does have a swamp. He just has one, so that Mutilate looking pretty poor right now.
And it looks like Adam has at least a Scavenging Ooze and possibly a Thundermaw Hellkite in his hand as well. So he still has some threats that he can present here. But Zachary's not in the worst shape because I believe he does have a Mutilate. But again, right now it's only for 1.
Yeah.
So not really going to be able to deal with anything.
Scavenging Ooze is going to come down here. Schulz got to be pretty thrilled with how turn 4 went. No Hellrider showing up to the party or even a Flint of 4. Just kind of a boring little Scavenging Ooze.
Yeah, with Zachary at 18 and with basically Adam's turn 4, I think he's probably feeling okay, but he's really going to need something like a Desecration Demon here or one of those giant threats like an Opposite Eye that can kind of present a threat as well as a good blocker.
So Schulz is going to untap his lands, draws a card. You see the lands that he has in play: an Isolated Chapel, Orzhov Guildgate, a Mutavault, and a Swamp down there. He's going to play another Isolated Chapel, so he does have the necessary mana to cast Obsidian Ghost Council if he does have it, but he just has to pass the turn back, staring at a Mutilate that's not really going to do very much. Scavenging Ooze is going to get activated at the end of Schulz's turn, remove that Elvish Mystic, and gain Van Fleet a life and become a 3/3. And looks like Van Fleet's just going to remove the Planeswalker for value.
In case Tarmogoyf shows up.
Yeah, never know.
And it looks like Zachary might have a victim of the night. So he has an answer for the Scavenging Ooze or a potential Thundermaw Hellrider right here. So he has a removal spell, so he can mitigate some of the damage he'll take this turn. But again, there's still going to be at least 2 creatures in play that are going to be attacking likely this turn. So Zachary will be taking at least perhaps 5 damage, dropping to 13. And he still doesn't have that much action. I mean, again, he has a Mutilate in his hand, but it's only for 1, so it effectively can just kill one side of the String Ooze, guys.
Yeah, it's not a very effective card at all. You see Van Fleet kind of weighing his options, not looking at the best of hands at this point. May have a Thundermaw or another haste creature in his hand, considering if he should cast it. This is 5 mana, so this is certainly going to be the dragon. I'm kind of hoping that Schulz doesn't have a removal spell, but he's going to turn everything sideways here.
So yeah, Zachary, I believe, does have a Victim Knight that he can take care of the Thundermaw with. And he'll end up taking 5, dropping to 13. However, Adam's hand, I don't think his hand has that many spells left. I think he just has like 2 lands. So if Zachary can muster some sort of defense here, I think he'll be okay, because he's basically just facing a 3/3, probably a 4/4 once the Thundermaw dies. But again, opposite art or Desecration Demon would be great here.
Victim of Night is going to take care of that Thundermaw Hellkite. So bye goes the dragon. You see a Disciple Bolus and Mutilate over there in Schultz's hand as well. So he's not underneath the most pressure, but he's not doing great right now either.
Yeah, not doing great. He has a Disciple Bolus in his hand, so if he doesn't draw anything great, he can always just activate the Mutavault and then sack it to the Disciple Bolus in order to gain 2 life, draw 2 cards, try to get a little more action. But it looks like he drew Restoration Angel for the turn, so that can show up to the party and deal with the String Ooze guys.
I saw a Doomblade hanging out in his hand as well, so Schultz actually doing much better than I think we originally believed. We'll see if he's willing to Restoration Angel here, but it doesn't look like he is. Just Scavenging Ooze is going to get in along with Strangle guys. Ooze going to remove that Thundermaw Hellkite, move up to a 4/4, and we'll see if Schultz does want to use a Doomblade to take care of the Ooze. Maybe save it for a potential haste creature.
It looks like he might have taken the damage already, which I would be surprised if we moved. Yeah, it looks like we moved the damage. So he's just holding that Doomblade back. Maybe afraid of Thundermaw or Hellrider. Maybe he's just afraid those are real. But either way, I still imagine that if he did draw Restoration Angel, why wouldn't that card come down?
Yeah, I'm a touch surprised by that, because I did see the Restoration Angel as well, and now here it is.
Yeah, why?
So that is a little bit surprising there.
I mean, I understand that you only deal with one side of the Stringer guys, but you're blocking 2 damage, and it's now you can still kill it next turn. So yeah, I don't see why you wouldn't just cast Restoration Angel as a blocker.
Well, Schultz is going to play the Restoration Angel on Van Fleet's end step. Going to go to his turn here. Again, he still does have that Mutilate. Just drew a Swamp for the turn, so Mutilate can be for 2 finally, which is not so bad. Would take care of those 2 Arelves that Van Fleet did play to empty his hand. Would take care of the front half of Strangleroot guys as well. Certainly not taking care of that Scavenging Ooze anytime soon, though.
But that's, again, if he blocked that Strangleroot guys last turn, he could Mutilate this turn, kill everything but the Scavenging Ooze, and he still has a Doomblade for that too, which he just hasn't been casting. Now, I can understand trying to be conservative with your Doomblade, because the cards that probably really matter are Thundermaw, Hellkite. But again, you already dealt with 1 Thundermaw, and Scavenging Ooze is just going to be very, very big now.
Yeah.
So you got to start figuring out what your plan is.
You got to keep that life total high too. He does have Disciple Bolus in his hand, but that takes a little bit of assembly and time to get set up. I don't think this is a turn that he wants to cast Disciple, sacrifice that Angel, and then he's just going to have a 2/1 on the battlefield, which is not the best card in this situation. Would just be on chump block duty of the Ooze. But we'll see what Schultz's game plan is going to be over the next couple of turns here. He's sitting at 7, and any haste creature off the top of the deck is going to be pretty good for Van Fleet.
Yeah, he's still not in bad shape. If he does have the Doomblade, which I believe he does, he's going to be able to deal with almost all the creatures in the board. Scavenging Ooze undies, so he's a +1/+1 counter, and he still has a Doomblade. So he can block the Strangler guys and Doomblade the Scavenging Ooze and still be in pretty good shape, because he has the Disciple in his hand to regain some life and draw some cards.
So there's the Mutilate. You're going to see some Scavenging Ooze activations here from Van Fleet. At the end of turn, going to take care of that Arelf. Turn Scavenging Ooze into a 5/5 and up his life total a little bit here. So now Van Fleet's going to be playing kind of off the top of the deck.
Wow.
And there's a Hellrider. You see him reorganizing his mana. That's a darn good place to start.
Now, again, I am surprised that he bothered. He could block and kill the Hellrider.
Yeah, I guess like how would you have rather played that turn? Maybe you Doomblade the Scavenging Ooze to start on the attack step
Now you take 5 from the Scavenging Ooze.
and go down to 2.
Yeah, I don't see.
Actually, going to
You're
go down
taking
to
6.
1.
Yeah, this is so unfortunate because if Zachary blocked the Geist last turn, it wouldn't have been attacking. So now you can easily just let the Hellrider resolve and just Doomblade the Scavenging Ooze.
Mm-hmm.
And if he attacks with the Hellrider, you just eat it with the Restoration
Yep.
Angel. So, yeah, kind of a terrible turn there for Zachary because now he still has a 6/6 Scavenging Ooze that he has to deal with, and he used all his removal spells. He does have the Disciple Bowl, so he's going to be able to recoup some of that life and draw some cards here if he decides to sacrifice the Restoration Angel, which it looks like he will.
Yeah, he's going to start by attacking for 3. Van Fleet going to go down to 21. Then you're going to see Disciple post-combat. Might be a little bit of a risk to not leave up one of those Mutavaults, but we'll see, because he does have Victim of Night in his deck. In comes the Disciple. A couple of cards are going to be drawn. A little bit of life going to be gained. You see Liliana, the Veil.
So that
he hasn't played a land yet.
Yeah, he hasn't
either.
played a land yet, so that was a good draw. He drew the answer for the Scavenging Ooze, so that's all he really needed. Still a little exposed to Hellrider, but at least he has a blocker so he won't die to it.
Yeah, he won't die to Hellrider, but the dragon will kill him in Thundermaw Hellkite, so he's got to fade a draw step at least next turn, but he's not going to play the Liliana. That is a surprise. So it looks like he has Ultimate Price in his hand and Victim of Night, so that was actually quite a good Disciple Bolas, drawing him basically 3 removal spells, but none of which can kill the Planeswalker that is Domri Rad, excuse me.
Okay, so this is great because he's likely going to try to fight here, and then
Yeah,
you can pick
perfect.
the response. So that ended up working out perfectly for Zachary. Obviously, not playing the Liliana there because he had the instant speed removal.
Yep.
He was actually just playing around Thundermaw to make sure he doesn't die to that. However, this ended up working out perfectly for him because Adam did draw Domri Raid. He chose to fight to try to get through that last few points of damage. And now Zachary will be able to deal with the Domri with a swing from the Disciple or the Mutable.
Yeah, Domri will provide no advantage here as the fight got blown up by a removal spell. You see Van Fleet's going to probably activate the Scavenging Ooze in some fashion here. This is something that you brought up yesterday. Should he activate the Scavenging Ooze now, or should he leave the creatures in the graveyard for a future Scavenging Ooze?
Yeah, I think people, too often, they just don't think about top-decking Scavenging Ooze later in the game and not having creatures to pump it with. They just think about, I have a Scavenging Ooze now, I'll just try to gain some life. But in this kind of matchup, the life really isn't that relevant as much as it is getting more value out of your Scavenging Ooze later on. And then
and so he just does play
thankfully
one.
he had one, so it didn't matter. But again, Zachary does have that Liliana Veil, so he could actually play Liliana, down ticket to force Adam to sacrifice the Scavenging Ooze and then deal with Domri with the Disciple Bolas.
Draw step is a Restoration Angel for Schulz, so his deck, his engines are really getting online right now. You see the Liliana in his hand that you mentioned, Osip. That's going to be able to take care of Scavenging Ooze. That looks like what we're going to see. He's got the Mana to leave Restoration Angel open as well, where he can blink Disciple Bolas and then sacrifice the Angel to get more life and more cards.
Yeah, he's basically just going to be grinding Adam away now. Adam's slowly, but I don't think he's there yet, but Adam's pretty close to being in a Thundermaw or no situation.
Yep.
Because there's really not much else in his deck that can kind of get out of this situation. Particularly because he has the Liliana now, too.
Van Fleet draws a card. It's a Strangleroot Geist. Not the worst draw in the world, but certainly not the best. As we know, there's a Restoration Angel hanging out here, and I think it's time that we probably cast that one. In a perfect world, he would like to blink the Restoration Angel and sacrifice it to the Disciple, but I think it might just be worth picking off that Strangleroot Geist. But maybe not. Maybe you're perfectly fine just leaving it as a 2/1.
I don't know. I think you might want to... I think it's reasonable to play Restoration Angel, blink your Disciple, sack the Restoration Angel to Disciple to draw 3 cards, gain 3 life, and then just use your Disciple to block the Strangleroot Geist.
Okay.
Or it depends on what he's attacking. If he's attacking Liliana, I might just let Liliana go. But I don't know. I kind of like blocking there because you still have a Mutavault that can take care of the other side of Strangleroot Geist. And I think his deck really just wants to draw cards because he doesn't have. I think he just has a Sign and Blood too. So I don't think he wants to cast Sign and Blood until he can get a little more life cushion, which this play would actually provide.
All right. So here's Resto. Going to blink the Disciple. Disciple is going to sacrifice Resto. So draw 3, gain 3 for Schultz. Going to go up to 7. And he can decide now after seeing the cards if he does want to block or not. Dross Messenger among the cards that he did draw off of that. And he is going to trade the front half of Strangleroot Geist with Disciple Bolas.
Yeah, and Adam just doesn't have any cards left in his hand, so I like that play a lot simply because you can't go wrong with gaining 3, drawing 3, especially when your opponent has no cards in his hand and you have Liliana in play. So
Schulz going to take a draw step here. Finds a Mutilate. Does have that Sign in Blood that you mentioned as well. Maybe a Desecration. Even up, just Mutilate. Just trade 1 for 1.
Looks like we're going to have Mutilate, Draws Messenger, and he's going to have to try to dodge a haste creature for 1 turn.
Well, sitting at 7, so there's not a haste creature that can kill him at this point, so I still think he's doing okay. Like, even if Thundermaw shows up, he'll go down to 2, which isn't the most comfortable position to be in, but still going to be alive, which matters. Looks like he may have tapped poorly here for the Mutilate, because now he can't cast Dross Messenger in the same turn, so a slight hiccup there. Just can only attack with a Mutavault, play a Goblet Shrine, and pass the turn back. And again, discard the Orzhov Guildgate.
Yeah, so even if a haste creature does come down, if he doesn't attack Liliana, then he can just use it to kill the creature. So he's still going to have that life cushion of 7.
There's a Flint of Boar. With haste, you're going to take care of the Liliana of the Veil. You see that Schulz is going to draw a card, and he draws one heck of a haymaker in Obsidian.
So it looks like he's going to tap the play the Dross Messenger first to make sure that he has the right mana. So drains Adam for 2. And now Obsidian comes down. He's going to drain Adam for another 2 and gain 2 life in the process.
Yeah, and here comes the real problem, and that is the Obsidian. Schulz going to go up to 9. Van Fleet going to go down to 13. All of a sudden, Van Fleet is on a clock, and in a big way.
And I think I would still phase it out. I mean, I know it's tempting to sort of keep it in play as a blocker, but I don't even think you want to block in case he draws Gorkline Rampager.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'd block anyway. So if I'm not going to block, I might as well phase. And I don't think there's a card that can kill me if I'm at 9.
Yep, there is no. I was just thinking the exact same thing. Hellrider will make it so Schulz goes down to 1.
Yeah.
On Thundermaw Hellkite will also make it so that Schulz goes down to 1. So there's not a card right now for Van Fleet that can kill Schulz on the next turn. So I agree with you that I think you just blink it out. But he is going to leave it in play.
So let's see if Adam just decides to go for an attack, even just trying to bluff a Rampager.
I couldn't turn that board sideways fast enough.
You have to bluff something, right?
Yeah. Domri, the draw step here for Van Fleet.
Now he has another chance to get into a Rampager.
So we're going to take a look at the top card. Let's see what Van Fleet does find. It is a Flint of Boar.
So it's another boar, so he gets a boar now, so not the worst shape for Adam.
Yeah, how boring. not a Gore Clan Rampager.
Nice pun.
Thank you very much. It's early, but I'm trying to get the A game going.
LSV level pun here.
Wow. Don't tell Luis that.
So Zachary likely to cast Sign in Blood here. Yep. Take 2, go to 7, and draw 2 cards. Probably looking for a Mutilate, but I think he might have used both already. I think he only has 2 in his main deck yet.
Yep.
So it looks like we have another Dross Messenger. I kind of like attacking with Obsidian then phasing it out, because you have a second Dross Messenger, and you also have a Mutilate that can block, along with the Dross Messenger that you have in play. So, now you have 2 Mutavaults. So, yeah, I think I would definitely attack with Obsidian.
No fear of the double block?
I think it's fine. I mean, if you actually, yeah, you probably don't want to trade. I think you probably just attack with Dross Messenger.
I mean, the thing that you can do, however, is you can just attack with Obsidian and bluff removal spell, like dare him to double block. Which I actually kind of like, because there's a good chance that he won't block. Because if he blocks, you just have a removal spell and you just take care of it. Like maybe you just say attack Domri and dare him to double block.
Yeah, I like attacking though. I like attacking with something. I mean, either the Obsidian to bluff the removal spell. At this point though, because he cast a spell already, I don't think it's worth it. I think Adam will probably double block.
Yeah,
but I think it's worth attacking with a Dross Messenger. Because I don't think you want to give Adam any more time, particularly because he has a Domri in play. So the possibility of him drawing into Thundermaw has just increased. So you got to try to close this game out quickly. If you attack with Dross Messenger, he doesn't have a good block. I would just attack him. Don't even bother going after Domri at this point. You have 2 Mutavaults. I would still phase out my Obsidian, because you have 2 Mutavaults that you can activate and block. No fear of Mysium Mortars making it difficult for you to block. So I think you want to try to close this game out, and that involves attacking and phasing.
It's time to start cutting the draw steps for Schulz. Make it so that Van Fleet can't hit a little back-to-back way to get back into this game. You see him reaching for Obsidian here.
Yeah, at this point, I don't think you can attack with Obsidian, because you've tapped too much mana, and you kind of set up the 2 Mutavault activations over there. So I think you telegraphed in that you don't have a removal spell. So it looks like he's just going to phase. He didn't bother attacking with the Dross Messenger.
Pretty conservative.
So it's a little conservative play, but again, not a terrible situation.
See,
He still has plenty of blockers.
Van Fleet drawing this card, very deliberate, looking for Thundermaw.
Yeah.
That's the one that he needs right now.
And he might have drawn an action spell because it looks like he was thinking about what his attack's going to be. Wow, another Flint, of course. So if he drew a Rampager, this could be a really good turn for him. So let's see what his plan is. He has a board that he can play. He can give the board haste. If he did draw a Rampager, he can Blood Rush the Rampager as well. And depending on what Zachary does, if Zachary just tries to double block one of the boars with 2 Mutavolts, then he could be able to win the game outright here. But all depends on what that first card that Adam drew was.
So we know about the boar. We don't know the second card. He is in the proverbial tank right now. I'm trying to figure out what to do. I'm going to take a look at Dross Messenger, see how that 3-2 with Undying does work. It only gets bigger and worse for you if you kill it. Let's see. He plays Flint of Boar, and now he's going to play an Arbor Elf.
Okay, so not enough quite yet. But again, Domri in play gives him a few more chances to get that Thundermaw. Or the Rampager. I mean, Rampager's pretty good too. But Zachary's going to be gaining some life here. He's going to continue to put pressure on with the Obsidian.
So Van Fleet going to lose 2, go down to 11. Schulz going to go up to 9. Obsidian at the ready. We'll see what Schulz does draw for the turn and see what he wants to do to navigate this one. Van Fleet patiently waiting, arms in hand. What to do, what to do.
At this point, I know it's risky to attack, but every time you're not attacking, you're basically giving Adam another turn to draw something like a Gorkline Rampager or a Thundermaw. Or at this point, even Hellrider could be devastating because he's effectively getting 2 potential draw steps next turn. He's going to draw his card for a turn, and then if he hits again with Domri. Not to mention the fact that Domri's almost close to getting ultimate. So Zachary has to kind of figure out, what am I going to do here? I don't know if he drew removal spell or what, but I don't think your plan of just phasing in and out Obsidian is enough.
Yeah, agreed.
Especially with an active Domri rate.
I agree with you. You have to make some sort of attack here, be it with messengers or something. You have to put some sort of clock on Van Fleet and make him move.
Because if you ultimate Domri and all your creatures gain hexproof, double strike, trample, I mean, things are going to get very interesting very quickly. And
that emblem is not a beatable thing. It's not. It cannot be done.
So let's see what's going to happen here. Zachary, Obsidian comes in next turn, drops Adam to 9. He probably has a couple more turns. I think if he's able to survive maybe 2 more turns, he might be in a position where even the emblem won't matter if Adam doesn't have at least a couple more creatures in play. But still, I don't know. He's giving Adam a lot of draw steps here.
I'm just kind of with you in the fact that, because he has the 2 Mutavolts back there, he can make some more aggressive attacks because he can just chump block guys if he wants to preserve his life total. So he can actually turn those messengers sideways. Each one that dies, here's a Scavenging Ooze.
Wow.
So now this is going to make things even more complicated, and I think that's going to want Schulz. That's going to actually force Schulz to attack less.
Yeah.
Now he's going to want to make a move even less now than he did want to before.
Because you have to figure, if Zachary decides to attack with Pilcherov's messengers and leaves the Obsidian just as a blocker, what is Adam's plan going to be? Does he just take 6 and drop to 5? Because at that point, you're just going to lose to, Obsidian plus just the messengers dying, coming back into play.
Yeah, but the messenger Undying plan, if that was the plan that Schulz is setting up, Scavenging Ooze just blew that up.
Yeah.
Because if they die, if they trade with a boar, while that would be probably pretty good for Schulz, they're not going to come back and be able to drain anymore because of Scavenging Ooze. So the more time that Schulz gives him, the better the draw steps are going to be for Van Fleet. Domri, of course, helping that out, and we see Van Fleet work his way into a Scavenging Ooze, which is quite good right now, honestly.
And I can't really see the Domri's a little off camera, but I believe it has 6 counters on it. And we're going to bring up Domri for you in a second, but it's basically, I think the ultimate is 7, and you get an emblem, and all your creatures gain double strike, trample, hexproof, and haste. So once that happens, he basically has 1 more turn, and then he'll be able to ultimate, and all his creatures just become really dominating
Yeah,
threats.
just basically unbeatable.
Yeah, and you have to question, like, what is Zachary going to do? He doesn't have any mutilates left in his deck. He used both of them already. So, great draw here from Zachary. He drew the Oblivion
You draw
Ring.
Oblivion Ring, yeah. You can. We just went over the ultimate ability. I think that's what he's taking a look at right now. It's time to quash that bad boy.
Yeah,
get that thing out of here.
That was a huge draw. He basically had one Oblivion Ring left in his deck, and he just drew it to deal with the Dharma Raid. So
you see him get out the emblem for Van Fleet. Van Fleet saying,
maybe a little too.
This is my plan. You better be You better be wary.
You know, again, a great draw, and obviously being able to deal with the Dharma Raid is huge, but at the same time, Adam has amassed a little army here, and the Scavenging Ooze, like you said, it's going to be able to turn off the Undying ability for the messengers. So I think even with the Oblivion Ring here, Adam might be tempted to just attack, particularly because Zachary basically can't phase out the Obsidian now.
No.
He just can't do it anymore. There's just too many creatures in play, and because of Scavenging Ooze, he can't just afford to block the messengers and just lose them.
Yep. Agreed. Because the messengers, again, they'll trade with Flint of War, sure, but there will be no other value given, and then Scavenging Ooze will actually reign supreme on the battlefield.
Yeah. It's even going to be bigger than Obsidian. So let's see what Zachary does here. It looks like we're going to see Oblivion Ring for the Dharma Raid.
It could be it could be the Scavenging Ooze. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I don't know, though. He basically... Wow, so he is going after Scavenging Ooze. I'm surprised. I wonder if he has an answer for the Dharma Raid ability.
To me, what this means right now is that if he's taking care of the Scavenging Ooze, and he knows that Van Fleet has no cards in his hand, red zone. It's time. Red zone.
Can he attack, though? Is he in a position where he can attack and not expose himself to the swingback?
See, I think it's more of a thing where if he attacks with both messengers and leaves Obsidian back, this forces Van Fleet's hand to do something. You know, like, he's going to have to analyze the position correctly and think of all the different variables at that point about what Schulz can have in his hand, what he's trying to sculpt. You know, it puts the onus on Van Fleet to actually make a decision, and that's where I want to be as a player. Is I want to have them guessing on what to do and what to be concerned about and what to play around.
But let's put it this way: if Zachary decides to just attack with the Dross Messenger to Dharma, I'm like, okay, fine.
Just
I lose 3 counters.
Yeah,
I'm still ticking it up and trying to dig for Rampager.
I want to go.
You just lost a blocker.
Yeah, I want to go to the life total.
Yeah, and you can't phase out your Obsidians anymore. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think he's okay with this. I don't think he's. Maybe you want to block and try to get to ultimate, but if you keep losing your creatures, the ultimate ability I don't think is as effective. So it looks like he's just going to chump off with Arbor Elf. I like that play. You force Zachary to be a little more aggressive next turn. So let's see what happens here. So Adam's going to untap. Zachary doesn't have any other plays. Adam draws. Looks like it's a land for the turn. He can uptake Dharma and get it closer to ultimate next turn. So does he reveal a creature? Does not appear to be a creature. So possibly a land.
That's either a land, another Domri, or Mortars. Those are the only things that can be.
So this is kind of unfortunate for Zachary here. He does not have another creature. So there is the potential to uptick to ultimate Domri next turn. Did he draw? Oh, another Flint of Fours. So all 4 Flint of Fours are in play currently.
Yeah, but we are in the situation now, as you mentioned, that for Van Fleet, his Domri's at 7. That's the sweet spot, and I don't think there's a way for Schulz to get over to it right now.
Well, what Schulz can do is he's basically going to have to attack with... He's going to have to try to attack it this turn. The question is, how many creatures can he afford to swing over? And if it's only 1, I think if Adam just blocks... And I don't know. That's the thing. I don't think Adam has enough creatures in play for it to matter. Because even with the ultimate ability, Obzad's big enough to deal with any of the Flint of Fours. So as crazy as it seems,
it'll trade with 1.
Yeah, but still, I mean, it's still going to be really good.
Yeah. Domri's emblem is no joke. I mean, again, trample, double strike, hexproof, haste. Obzadat will trade with one of those things. Messengers lose in combat to those Flint of Fours. Yeah. this is just I think that what Schulz is undoing is this game is just simply not being aggressive enough.
Well, the good news is that Adam. I don't know. I think Zachary can still survive, simply because no, the double strike trample. Yeah, this is going to be rough. It's Adam. Zachary needs a removal spell here. He's going to have to force the. Yeah, it looks like he's going to have to.
See, now he's got to start attacking, and the other thing too is now he's going after Domri, and this gives Van Fleet the decisions now. That's where I don't want to be. That's part of the reason I just wanted to start attacking Van Fleet and make it so that he has to actually care about his life total, because now Domri's high. Now Van Fleet can decide: do I want to block? Do I not want to block? Now I have the decisions.
Yeah, I think Adam's fine with just going down to one counter on Domri and just upticking again. You have 4 attackers. Obviously, the creature on top, the spell on top of your deck isn't a creature, but you'll get another chance by uptaking Domri. So I think if he draws Hell Rider or Thundermaw, he's still in good shape.
I would be very surprised if he did not block with both boars. I really, really would be. When you have the opportunity at a Domri emblem, and especially when your opponent doesn't Oblivion Ring it.
No, but
they have the opportunity.
Let's say I don't think he can though. Let's say he does that. You lose both your boars. Both the messengers die, and they come back into play as 4/3s. You drain them for 4, dropping to 6. You still have an Obsidian in play and 2 mutables that you have to contend with. There's not a creature on top of your deck. Let's say you do the emblem next turn. You just have 2 boars to attack with. That's it.
What if it's a Mortars?
What if it's a Mortars?
So he goes down to 4.
It's still only 12 damage though, and he's at 13. So I think you could just wave out your Obsidian and you just kill Adam. You see, now I would wave out my Obsidian.
Well, yeah, I would wave out my Obsidian too right now if I'm Schulz. What I'm saying is, if you're on Van Fleet side, and the top card's Mortars, you overload Mortars, you take care of both the messengers, and then you have the 2 boars back on defense for the double Mutavault and the Obsidian. Yes, you're going to go down to 4 from the drain, but I think your defense is good. This is going to kind of change some things now, because Disciple of Bolas is going to show up here to draw 4 cards and gain 4 life for Schulz. So that certainly changes some things. Wouldn't be surprised to see a Desecration Demon show up now.
Yeah, so...
Looks like he may have drawn 4 lands.
Looks like it's
there's a Tragic Slip. Okay, never mind. I take that back.
Wow, Tragic Slip and an Obsidian.
Yeah.
So that was huge. At this point, you could probably just Tragic Slip a boar and be okay with it.
Especially because right now you have Morbid. We're on Van Fleet's turn. You're not going to have that.
Yeah, and I would wave out the Obsidian.
Yeah, I'm in the camp of waving it out now. And Schulz is at a very, very high life total, so now he can just kind of fire away with some removal spells. He's got that backup Obsidian to actually finish the game. The next turn, it looks like he's going to play an Isolated Chapel. And yeah, I still think that now, waving it out is perfectly fine. That's exactly what you're going to see Schulz do. And now he's very comfortable passing the turn back. Big draw there.
Yeah,
Disciple Bolas.
Disciple was a huge draw. So, yeah, Adam draws for the turn. It could be a Mortars, could be a land, could be the 3rd or 4th Domri raid.
Mm-hmm.
But, again, we know it's not a creature, so not much Adam can do this game, really. He can uptick Domri. I don't think he can do Ultimate. Ultimate's really not going to do him anything.
Yeah, Ultimate, oddly enough, now isn't very good.
I mean, that's why I don't like double blocking, though, because I just don't think, even the Ultimate, I don't think does that much for you.
He's actually got to take it up to 8.
You lose too many of your creatures by double blocking there.
Looks at the top card, has to put it back. So again, we know that's not a creature. It can be a Mortars, a Domri, or a land. But another whiff there from the red-green Planeswalker. And I'm not sure that Van Fleet has a way out this game now.
Yeah, Zachary is just going to be... Obsidian will phase back in, drain Adam for 4, and then he can activate both mutables and attack with
everything. Yeah. And he's got that backup Obsidian in his hand as well to be able to drain again.
Yeah.
So Van Fleet is sitting at a virtual 2. He's got 6 lands. It's the Visium Mortars, so that's going to clear it up.
So he'll be able to deal with both the Disciple and the Dross Messenger, but again, won't really matter.
Yeah,
he only has 1 blocker for the Obsidian, and the 2 mutables can come in for the last 4 damage.
Especially with Van Fleet tapped out, and as you mentioned, 1 blocker, no cards in hand. Schulz is looking just an onboard kill here, as long as he doesn't forget about those Mutavolta, and he's reaching very quickly, and he is going to attack. So Zachary Schulz is going to win game number 1 over Adam Van Fleet. Black-white control up a game against red-green aggro. I didn't expect it to go that long.
Yeah, I mean, well, the thing is, I think you figure if it's going to go that long, black-white's going to win.
Yes.
So if the game's short, red-green won. That's the only. Red-green's not going to win those long, drawn-out games.
Yes, that's exactly where Schultz wants things. Back here in the booth, Cedric Phillips, Osip Levinovich. It is trivia time, my friends. Very simple. Osip is going to ask you guys a question. This one is for 6 months of premium. With your answer to the question, make sure you hashtag on Twitter SCG Premium. We will be selecting one winner from the group of people who do get it correct. So it's about accuracy, not speed, because we'll be announcing the winner at the conclusion of our semifinals. My friend.
Okay, so the red-green deck, Adam Van Fleet's red-green deck that we saw, very popular deck, plays Hellrider, Thundermilk, Hellkite, came onto the scene, I'd say about a month ago during World Championship. Name the player and Star City Games writer and Hall of Famer who made that deck popular.
One of 2 men who read for Star City Games with just fantastic hair.
Fantastic hair, yeah.
Really good, really good. So if you're able to name that writer with fantastic hair who created this red-green aggro deck, hashtag your answer with the hashtag SCG Premium on Twitter. Again, we will select one winner from the group of winners at the conclusion of the semifinals. So again, it is about accuracy, not speed, as we do move back to the match at hand between Mr. Van Fleet and Mr. Schultz. Black-white control, red-green aggro. We'll take a look at Van Fleet's sideboard first, see what he can do to kind of help out here. He's got 4 Burning Earths, but they're not great in this matchup, even though you take a look at the mana base for Schultz's deck. He's got 4, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13 non-basics and 12 basics. Would you Burning Earth here?
I would bring in Burning Earth, yeah. Frankly, I think you need something to kind of close the games out, because it's one of those situations where Zachary just has so much removal, so you're going to have to figure that your creatures aren't going to be able to get the job done. So you can probably, it's going to be one of those situations where you're probably going to get him down to 8 or 6, and then you want something that can kind of close it out. Burning Earth isn't necessarily a fireball, but it can be kind of a pseudo fireball.
Okay.
So I kind of like Burning Earth because it'll kind of chip away at his life total, do 2 here, 3 there, but it has the potential to do a lot of damage. Mm-hmm. So especially with Adam on the play now, I like being able to go like turn 1 guy, turn 2 guy, turn 3 guy, turn 4 Burning Earth, Sure. And I just think it's going to be too difficult for Zachary to even if he has removal spells for the creatures, if he's taking damage every time, in combination with the haste creatures that Adam can present, I think Burning Earth is actually reasonable in this matchup.
Take a look at 2 Zealous Conscripts in the sideboard. A lot of good targets. Desecration Demon, Obzedat. Depending on the situation, I think those are certainly going to come in. 1 Rurik Thar, pretty expensive card. If Van Fleet is able to get online, I think it'll actually be good, but I'm not sure if he's going to want to sideboard then. Pillar Flame, 2 copies of Flames of the Firebrand, 2 Chandra Pyromaster, and 3 Volcanic Strength. Of those cards, I like Chandra actually quite a bit. If we're going to get into kind of a drawn-out game like we just saw in the last one, obviously that's not Van Fleet's goal, but the card advantage that the Pyromaster can provide, I think, can actually lead to a win.
Yeah, basically, I think it comes down to whether or not he wants Burning Earth. If he decides to go with Burning Earth, I think he probably has to board out his Domri raids.
Okay.
So the only thing that would make me think that he's not going to bring in the Burning Earth because of how good Domri's was in this matchup.
Okay.
Because I don't think you want to have both Domri and Burning Earth in your deck. It's just too many, especially because what else are you going to cut? I mean, I think you want the Rurik Thar.
Okay.
I think you want the Chandras too. So I don't think you can afford to board in 6 Burning Earth and Chandra into your deck and still have Domri raid, because Domri just won't be as effective. So I think given how good Domri is in this matchup, he's probably going to want to just bring in 2 Chandra Pyromaster and the 1 Rurik Thar for maybe the 3 Mizium Mortars. Okay. Don't think you really need Mizium Mortars in this matchup.
Yeah, me either.
Not that great. So I could see boarding those 3 out. Again, maybe he wants to cut down and shave some of the numbers of the creatures that he has, but I just don't see it. I think there's not that many cards he can afford to board out.
Sure.
It really usually comes down to, do I board out my Domris or do I board out my Mizium Mortars? And it's sort of some combination of that.
We'll take a look at Schultz's sideboard here on the screen. 2 Pithing Needle, 2 Ratchet Bomb, a Dross Messenger, a Lifebane Zombie, 1 Vampire Nighthawk, 1 Blind Obedience, which I think is certainly going to be joining us, 2 Wonderworld Connections, a Liliana the Veil, 3 Duress, and an additional Mutilate. What do we like here?
I definitely like the Mutilate. It gives him a way to sort of deal with those draws of Flint of 4, Elvish Mystic, and into Hellrider. I also like the Blind Obedience, obviously. That card's very effective in this matchup, along with the Vampire Nighthawk. I think Lifebane Zombie is probably not good enough, and Ratchet Bomb, I think it's worth bringing in Ratchet Bomb just because it's another way to potentially deal with Domri. So I like the Ratchet Bomb, I like the Mutilate, and I like the Vampire Nighthawk and the Blind Obedience. So that's 5 cards. And as far as in his main deck, he's got 3 copies of Dross Messenger. That's probably not that great in this matchup simply because you're on the draw and it comes into play tap. So don't think you can afford to play it on turn 3. And it obviously gets worse after that. I also think you can shave some of the Sign and Bloods. Don't know if you need 4 Sign and Bloods in your deck after board. So I kind of like taking out 3 Messengers and 2 Sign and Bloods for another Nighthawk, another Blind Obedience, and some of the Ratchet Bombs and Mutilate.
All right, we are informed our other match is over. Naya, it's
What?
on fire. Andrew Jessup does win at 2-1 over Mario Diliberto. So the Naya player will be playing the winner of this matchup between Red Green Aggro and Black White Controller. You guys can't see it at home, but Osip has a giant smile on his face.
Well, Jessup is playing the best deck in the format,
yes.
so it's only natural that he would end up winning and making it to the finals.
Certainly has not lost a match yet this weekend.
Not a match.
He is your number 1 seed. Not sure why more people don't employ this strategy.
Yeah, don't play Naya. Go ahead. Be my guest. So I think Jessup clearly rooting for Adam to win this match. I think Naya would much rather play against Red Green Aggro than Black White Control. But either way, I think Naya's in good shape against either of these decks.
Well, the best deck doesn't lose.
The best deck just doesn't lose. Yeah.
Of the 2 matchups, and Brian Kibler even admitted this in one of his articles last month. Naya is a great way to go about beating Red Green Control. I mean, just look at the 2 decks, bigger creatures. They're basically doing the same thing, but the Naya deck has much larger creatures. They both have Domri, and it's very difficult for Van Fleet and the Red Green Aggro deck to be able to beat Smiters, Boros Reckoners, and all of that stuff. Yeah, it's very, very hard on a Red Green deck. So if he is rooting, if he has a rooting interest, there's probably a Van Fleet comeback here.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
And it's certainly possible. Obviously, I'm not going to say things get much better for him after board, but being able to swap those Mizium Mortars for a card like Chandra is pretty big because being able to go Domri Chandra is pretty good against a mid-rangey deck like this.
Yeah.
Adam doesn't. Zachary doesn't have a lot of ways to kind of put pressure on Domri, on the Planeswalkers. He doesn't. So he's basically in a position where he needs to try to either Oblivion Ring them or maybe use Ratchet Bomb. Or just let them uptick until eventually a Desecration Demon can do something. But yeah, Planeswalker's obviously pretty good against Zachary's deck. So we'll see if Adam can draw, the right combination of cards to sort of put enough pressure on Zachary in game 2 here. Being on the play clearly helps him. And like we said, I think Zachary's deck, it kind of stumbled early on there. Didn't really look that impressive. But, a timely Disciple Bolus to sort of draw some cards. Actually, it was a Restoration Angel. That top deck Restoration Angel was huge.
The start.
And even where we thought maybe he should have blocked the Stranglergeist as opposed to end step playing the Restoration Angel, still kind of ended up working out for him because he did have a Mutilate, and he managed to find the second Swamp, so he was able to wipe out most of Adam's board, and he still had a Doomblade. So despite some of the sequencing, Zachary was able to slowly grind away all of Adam's advantage and even deal with a Domri raid that was close to being ultimate.
Yeah, and somehow gotten to the situation where Domri raid going ultimate wasn't that relevant.
Yeah, and which is really surprising. Again, generally if Domri's going ultimate, it's bad news.
Yeah.
But Adam just didn't have enough creatures in play, which is the main reason I thought he shouldn't have blocked last turn.
Sure.
But because he ended up just upticking Domri anyway because he just didn't have enough pressure. So both players are presenting their deck, getting ready to draw 7 and see if they're happy with their openers.
Zachary Schulz looks ready, man.
Zachary's ready to go. He's riding high.
Yeah.
It feels good when you grind out a win.
Absolutely, it does.
It feels really good.
See Schultz's hand. He's got a couple of lands over there. You see the Lifebane Zombie in his hand as well, Vampire Nighthawk. So he's looking at a hand that gets off to a pretty nice start here. We'll see what Van Fleet is looking at. A couple of lands, mountains. Not sure if he has any green.
Domri.
Yeah, a couple of Domries.
Yeah, I think he's not a bad hand. He's got all his colored mana and.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
Alt U, undo.
Maybe he wanted to just play the Rootbound Crag main game turn 1.
We'll see if he's allowed to take that one back or not.
Or maybe Yeah, it looks like maybe there's just some discrepancy. I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like he has a string root dice in his hand anyway. So generally, though, you probably just want to leave with your root bound, Craig. There's no reason not to.
Yeah.
So looks like just Adam's taking some notes here, trying to figure out what.
He can't read his own handwriting. That's I think what it is. And Schulz is realizing that and trying not to laugh.
Okay, so we're gonna have a
There we
melon,
go.
and the turn goes by, and Adam has a couple of Domri, so that's pretty good.
All right, Gala Shrine for Schulz. That is tapped. He's going to pass the turn back. There's your root bound crag. Does he have a flint tooth board? He
And
does. All right.
So
Good
not a
start.
bad start.
Good start.
Turn 2 3/3, turn 3 Domri.
Mhm.
I like it.
Side and blood there over in Schulz's hand.
Wow, a lot of lands and a sign of blood. It looks like.
And he's got a Lifebane zombie hanging out too.
Oh, really? He decided to board in life inside. I'm surprised. I guess it's it could take out Gorkman Rampager, which
Yeah.
is good.
And 3 mana after the board does come in. There's your Planeswalker. I'm taking a look, checking for blackjack.
Wow,
Hell
Hellrider.
Rider.
That's great. Can't get taken by life
No, it cannot. And this is part of the reason that Brian Kibler had moved to a more red-centric version than a green-based version is, so that he could be better against Lifebane Zombie. That was the goal.
Yeah. And Zachary has a number of options here. He looks like he has a Nighthawk, it looks like he has Lifebane Zombie, and he also has an Oblivion Ring too. But given that he saw Hellrider, I don't think Oblivion Ring or Domri is really a correct play.
Yeah.
So he's going to play the Lifebane here. I like this because it can trade with the boar. Also gives him a little information. Unfortunately, he just doesn't have any targets.
The whiff.
Adam has another Domri, the Hellrider, 2 mountains, and looks like a Zealous
Conscripts. Yep.
So pretty good grip there. Zachary completely whiffs with the Lifebane. So now it looks like Adam can play the Hellrider, and he could just attack with the Flintoff board and get the Hellrider trigger.
Yeah, which I
and
like.
then-
I like quite a bit.
Yeah, Zachary can obviously just decide to block there, but at least Adam will keep his Hellrider in play.
The other thing he could do as well, because this is kind of goes down to Domri management now, right? Where he could just have the boar fight the Lifebane Zombie, play the Hellrider, get in for 4. That's an option.
That's true.
Or he could just keep trying to tick up the Domri.
I kind of like upticking Domri and playing Hellrider and just passing, because if you can go conscripts next turn and steal another creature that Zachary plays and have those creatures fight each other, and then just attack with everything, I think that's much better. So I'm actually kind of okay with just playing Hellrider
Okay.
and just passing the turn.
Let's see if that's what Van Fleet does. Van Fleet,
Oh,
he's getting in
wow.
with both. Wow, well, this is a snap block on the.
Yeah, I
on the
can't
Hellrider.
imagine just trading.
I don't like that trade at all.
Yeah, because especially because you have the conscripts.
Yeah.
You know, what's the worst case scenario for you? If Zachary plays a Mutilate, that's obviously very bad, but at least you still have a Domri in play, you still have a conscripts in your hand, and I don't think that's the worst thing for you. But best case scenario, Zachary just plays another creature and just passes. Then you can steal it and fight those two, basically 2 for 1ing Zachary, and then attacking with both your 3/3s.
Yeah, I
and
think
dealing
that's
in a total of 8.
Just really undervaluing Hellrider at this stage in the game. That's just one of your best threats. It's not, if not the best threat that you currently have.
But still, Adam in a pretty good shape. He's still got that Domri ticking up. Zachary, though, does have a Tragic Slip, and we know he still has a Nighthawk as well as an Oblivion Ring. So looks like Nighthawk's probably the best play here. Because even if Domri tries to fight the Nighthawk with one of his creatures, it won't really matter because Nighthawk does have Death Touch, so that does impact it.
All right. Well, there is the 2/3 flying Death Touch lifelink.
So are we just going to see Conscripts come down, steal it, and attack for 8?
You think that's the best use of that card right now?
I
I'm
think
not sure. I'm not sure if it gets any better.
Well, I would uptick Domri to get some a little more information. But yeah, with Domri at 6, I kind of like just trying to get Zachary as low as possible, because then you're in a position where if you're Zachary, you can't really try to attack Domri. You're gonna have to deal with it eventually because it's very close to ultimate. So if you waste the time Oblivion Ring it, I don't know. I think it's worth it. You definitely uptick. I think you uptick Domri first, gain a little more information. Let's see what you got. A
Flint of
boar.
boar.
Wow. So now I could see playing a boar and just swinging. maybe trying to get a little more value.
See, I don't know. The thing is, like, I don't think you want to be too greedy with the conscripts, because let's say, excuse me, yeah, you don't want to be too greedy with the conscripts. I think you want to take the opportunity, because let's say on the following turn, he Oblivion Rings the Domri. You can play Flint of Boar and Domri in the same turn, assuming that he has the mana to do so. He can play Boar, give it haste, play Domri, take it up, and rebuild that way. I mean, one thing that you don't want to do is like hope for best case scenario with conscripts, which is, yeah, he's going to play Desecration Demon, I'm going to take it and punch him in the face with it. I think that, maximizing your mana on this turn ends up working out a lot better.
Yeah, I would have preferred the conscripts, but because I mean, obviously Adam can't know that Zach has the Tragic Slip, but again, you have to think, if he does have a Tragic Slip, this is a pretty bad situation.
Yeah, it's certainly one that you can play around.
Yeah.
You can only put him on one card when he has one swamp open. It's Tragic Slip or Bust, so you can play accordingly around that card. It looks like Schulz did not block, though. He takes all of the damage, so valuing his Nighthawk very high.
So is his plan to just try to use Nighthawk to attack Domri? Because he knows Adam has a Conscripts in his hand, so I'm surprised that he would just take 6 there. Because now he can't even. Now there's no Morbid trigger even, so he can't even. I would. If I was Zachary, why wouldn't you want to just use your Nighthawk to block the Flintiff Boar? You'll take 3, but you're gaining 2, and then you can use the Tragic Slip to deal with the other Flintiff Boar, and then just Oblivion Ring Domri.
Yeah, like you, I'm a little bit surprised by that.
So Zachary draws a Restoration Angel. Not a bad draw here. He can attack Domri and then play Restoration Angel to blink his Vampire Nighthawk.
Yeah, things get ugly then. Also, Restoration Angel is going to brick a Zell's Conscripts.
Yep.
If that's the plan. So Restoration Angel, a fantastic draw.
So I think Adam's definitely going to regret not using the Conscripts earlier.
Yeah, it'll brick a fight too, if that's what Van Fleet was maybe setting up. I think it's still the turn is begin with uptaking Domri. I think that's still where things start.
Yeah, you got to uptake Domri. I just don't think there's a good fight for you, so it's still worth uptaking, getting more information. Obviously, Rampager makes things easier for you. You have to figure Zachary has either a Restoration Angel or a removal spell, so you have to plan accordingly.
It's really the only 2 things you can have.
Yeah,
a Restoration Angel or perhaps double removal spell.
And the fact that he attacked makes me think it's a Restoration
Angel. Yep. Got to deduce that information.
Because Zachary's playing very strange. Adam. I don't think Adam really knows what to do here. I think he expected Zachary to block with the Nighthawk last turn.
Yeah.
The fact that he didn't, I think you can kind of telegraph that he might have a Restoration Angel here. So if he has a Restoration Angel, how do I play this game? Zachary trying to, confuse him a little bit, waving across the top of his deck, hoping to top deck something. But in reality, Zachary has everything he needs.
Yeah, he doesn't need anything. What he needs is for Van Fleet to attack with both of his creatures.
Yeah,
that's what he needs. The trap is set.
I think Zachary's trying to think, if I cast... I can't imagine what he's thinking, because why wouldn't you want to uptick Domri first? If maybe you want to try to fight and then play another...
Oof.
No, I would be... I might even let that resolve.
Yeah, I think I would be fine with letting that resolve. It makes it so that it doesn't look like that you have Restoration Angel. I mean, this is just removal, and you gain 2 life. You go to 10.
Not only that, but your Tragic Slip gets turned on. You can Tragic Slip the board. You can play Restoration Angel at the end of the turn and finish off the Domri. Like, why? I think I just let that resolve.
Yeah, that's fine. And I go up to 10 life.
Now what do? Do you play the Conscripts and try to... I don't think you want to just play a Conscripts as a 3/3.
No.
Yeah, I don't quite understand that play. Now Zachary basically has free reign to do whatever he wants.
Yeah, I mean, this turn coming in was looking pretty good. It's only looking better now.
So Adam still debating as to what he wants to do. It looks like it's strange. It seems like Adam keeps making these plays and then he's surprised by the outcomes of them.
Yeah. Stomping Ground going to come into play untapped here. 6 mana card?
So we know he has, I believe, at least one other copy of Domri. Maybe he wants to play Domri in uptick. Sacrificing the one he has in play.
I hate that. There's nothing I like less than that.
So it looks like he has a
Scavenging
Scavenging
Ooze.
Ooze.
He's going to pass
So
the turn back.
looks like he's playing around Restoration Angel, but doesn't really matter because Restoration Angel is going to be coming into play probably.
Yeah, the issue here is that I don't think he can afford to play Restoration Angel. There you see Restoration Angel coming down for Schulz, and now you're probably too tragic to take care of the old Scavenging Ooze. Yeah, and we'll see if he's going to make some activations or if he's going to leave the creatures in the graveyard for a follow-up Scavenging Ooze. But I don't think you're in a position to actually play around Restoration Angel there. I think Restoration Angel is going to ruin you either way. So I don't love that. I'm not in love with that. I guess the thought process can be is, you got to get that Restoration Angel out of his hand into play so I can Zealous Conscripts it. But Resto Besto is going to be able to take care of Domri now. There goes your Scavenging Ooze.
Yeah, Resto's going to take care of Domri. Van Fleet just has a boar in play, and I believe Schulz might even have another Restoration Angel. He still has that Oblivion Ring too. So.
Yep. It's kind of strange. He's not even going to have to catch that in. Also, he's working with some pretty good information from that Lifebane zombie from earlier.
Yeah, he knows. Yeah. He knows he has to. He knows about conscripts and then second Domri.
Yeah.
So I kind of like just attacking Domri and passing. You can play the Guildgate and then just pass the turn back. Worst case scenario, Van Fleet plays the conscripts, steals your Restoration Angel. You can't blink it with the second that you have in your hand because Angel says non-angel creature. So, but you can still play your Angel, eat up the boar or the conscripts. You take 6, you drop to 4, but you've effectively dealt with one of the creatures that Zachary has in play, or Adam has in play. But a good draw from Van Fleet here. He has a Mizium Mortars, so he can play a conscripts here, steal their Restoration Angel, attack with everything. But it looks like he's just gonna.
He's not playing around a second one.
So now you can just overload mortars.
Yeah. Just the problem here is that the conscripts is just getting the conscripts is never gonna be good because Schulz is never gonna let it be good. That's why I like taking it with the. That's why I like taking the Nighthawk.
I think you probably gained. I think that ship has passed. That was probably the best opportunity for him to cast it. But then again, I mean, he's still in reasonable shape just because Zachary doesn't have much else going. But now with the Sign of Blood and Nighthawk, he can get something going. But again, Adam has the conscript, so if he goes conscript, steal it, attack for 5. If he draws a Rampager this turn, it actually is lethal.
Yeah.
Because Zachary's now at 8. So depending on what Adam draws here, he does have a couple of outs. I think he has 6 mana. If he has a 7th in his hand, he might even have Flintiff Boar. So he has, looks like he has 7
mana. Cash it. Is that a dragon?
It's a dragon, wow. Great draw there. Dragon's going to be able to tap down the Nighthawk and swing for 3. Drop Zachary to 3.
Do you dragon here or do you conscripts? I think you conscripts.
I like dragoning.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because I think you have to put Zachary on not having a removal spell. And I like just being able to get into play and drop Zachary to 3 because you just have so many more outs. Plus, you still have the Domri in your hand.
See,
I could see your point because you're playing around another Restoration Angel, perhaps.
I like conscripting here. I think you conscript, you take this guy, you put him down at 3. He's probably going to leave the Nighthawk on defense. And let's say he draws a Desecration Demon, then you're going to use the Hellkite effectively to make it so his guys can't block. So there's a conscripts. He's going to target the Nighthawk and take it. He's going to put it on 3. I think this is going to cause the Nighthawk to play defense on the following turn.
Yeah.
And then it's going to force him. It's going to force Schulz into having 2 removal spells because the Nighthawk, the dragon's going to come down. It's going to tap the Nighthawk, and then he has to have a removal spell for the 2 different creatures because he's at 3. Because I can't imagine a world in which that Nighthawk's going to come in this turn.
Yeah, I agree with you. Plus, you're also playing around Restoration Angel, and it's the card that Zachary knows about. Mm-hmm. So Zachary now doesn't have really any information other than the Domri.
So he's going to turn this side, or he's going to go up to 5. Van Fleet's going to go down to 18. What's the follow-up here? Oblivion Ring? Yep.
So
there's a Mutavault.
Zachary's at 5, but it looks like the Thunderbolt could finish things up.
Yeah, and you slam down the dragon. Schulz has 1 card in his hand. You slam it down. You make him have the removal spell. If he doesn't have it, he dies. There's a dragon. And he's going to pick up the rest of his permanents. So we are going to go to game number 3 between Adam Van Vliet and Zachary Schulz. Red, green, aggro, and black-white control are tied up.
Yeah, and I think there was a couple of turns there where Zachary kind of could have capitalized on maybe using his Nighthawks a little more effectively. He basically took 6 damage when he didn't need to.
Okay.
So I think maybe a little poor resource management perhaps, but either way, Adam's Domri did a lot of work for him that game.
Oh, yeah.
And, turn 2 board, turn 3 Domri is exactly the kind of draw that Adam needs against Zachary's deck.
It changes the way that Schulz has to play the game.
Yeah, and we didn't really see any of the sideboard cards. It looks like Van Vliet kept in the Mizium Mortars, so not really sure what he did. We saw Scavenging Ooze, we saw Hellrider, we didn't see any Rampages, but it looks like we saw Conscripts. So I'm not really sure what he boarded out. Maybe he kept in 1 or 2 Mizium Mortars.
Maybe like the Singleton one that he left, he drew.
Yeah, not sure what he decided to board out, but Conscripts was the only sideboard card we saw. Definitely thought we'd see Pyromaster, especially considering he's dealing with cards like Nighthawk. Pyromaster just seems like a great card.
Yeah, making it unable to block, stuff like that.
So let's see if Van Vliet decides to maybe change up his plan now that he's on the draw.
Well, Schulz ain't changing nothing. He is shuffling. He is ready to go. You see Van Vliet's going to go back to the sideboard, take a look at things here.
Yeah, and frankly, I think on the draw, there's certain draws that Zachary can have that makes Van Vliet make it very difficult. So if Zachary gets a blind obedience in play on turn 2 on the play, it's really tough for Van Vliet.
It's so hard for Van Vliet to win then.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible.
Blind obedience is just simply too good.
Yeah.
And it makes all of Zachary's sorcery speed removal spells so much better. So I don't think Zachary's, that unhappy with going to game 3, being on the play. But again, I think that there were some things if he goes back and watches the video, I think there's some things he might have been able to do differently to put himself in a better position to win that game.
Sure.
Because it was very close.
Absolutely.
Very, very close there. And even though Adam's life total was pretty high, you could always feel like there was a chance for Zachary to just start to pull away, just like he did in the first game. So it's interesting to see how this match plays out, because all the games seem to be, favoring Adam early, and then Zachary starts to grind away and try to recapture that board position. But in game 1, Adam wasn't able to come back, and in game 2, Domri was able to help him come back. So both games really revolved around how effective Domri Raid was. So we'll see how effective it can be in game 3 if he's able to draw it and get it in play early.
And the fact that we haven't seen a Desecration Demon show up or anything like that, a little bit surprising. But again, Schulz is the control deck in this matchup, obviously. It says control, it says aggro over there, so it's his job to kind of not die, and then turn the corner and try to win pretty quickly.
Yeah, and honestly, I wonder. Both games were pretty close, but they all revolved around Domri. So I wonder if Adam doesn't get a Domri in game 3, I'm not sure if this game could even be close. I think this matchup seems very difficult for Red Green if they don't have Domri. So I'm not quite sure. Even with all the hasters, I'm just not sure he can put up enough pressure to deal with all the obnoxious cards that Zachary can present, like Nighthawk, Mutilate, Restoration Angel, Disciple Bolus. They regain some of that life. So we'll see. And I can't remember if we saw any of the sideboard cards from Zachary. We did see a Nighthawk. We did see Mutilate.
We saw a Lifebane Zombie.
We saw the Lifebane Zombie. So he did board into 1 Lifebane Zombie. It wasn't very effective. But it didn't look like he boarded anything out.
I mean, it wasn't terribly effective. The one thing that Lifebane Zombie did do is it gave information.
Yeah.
So he knew that he had to play around Zell's Conscripts and a second Domri. He ended up losing that Zell's Conscripts. But, the information, I think it affected the way that he played the game.
The information was good. I like it a lot better on the play. I'm surprised he boarded it in on the draw.
Sure.
But on the play, I like it a lot better because, one, it gives you more of an opportunity to steal a card like Gore Clan Rampager, or possibly even like a second Flintoff Boar or a Stranglergeist. But it also gives you a way to sort of attack a Domri.
Yep.
If they play a turn 3 Domri. So I kind of like it a lot more on the play, even though it wasn't effective for him on the draw in game 2.
Also like the fact that it's just like a decent blocker. Having 3 power.
3 power is pretty good. Adam doesn't have a lot of targeted removal. and even if he uses Domri to fight it, it's pretty much going to trade with most of his creatures. So both players still shuffling up. Zachary obviously going to be on the play this game, and I'm not sure if he decided to board in the Ratchet Bombs or not, but yeah, it looks like Lightbane Zombie, the second copy of Blind Obedience, the third Vampire Nighthawk, the fourth Vampire Nighthawk rather, and maybe that third Mutilate too. So, but he did keep in Sign and Blood, at least some number of them.
Yeah. So we'll have Schulz in the play, which is a good place to be.
I know that Jessup was probably pumping the fist that eventually was able to pull out that second game.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, if I was Naya, I'd be praying for Red-Green Aggro to win. Not just because it's a good matchup, because I'm on the play too. Domri Naya is going to be on the play no matter what, because Jessup is the number one seed. So to be playing Naya on the play against Red-Green Aggro is a really good place to be.
It is happy Jojo.
Happy Jojo in the finals of an Open.
Yep. All right, Van Fleet decides he is good to go, as is Schulz. And we will have Game 3 underway here momentarily, as both players are going to take a look at their opening hands. See a Mutavault, you see a couple lands. I think we might have a Sign and Blood over there too for Schulz, maybe a Ratchet Bomb. And we're going to add 2 more cards to that hand.
Yeah, Zachary, that hand was just too non-interactive. It's not where you want to be against a red-green aggro deck. There are some decks where you can keep a hand of like Sign and Blood and land, particularly maybe a control matchup, but you can't afford to keep that against red-green aggro.
Yeah, not this one. You were looking for interaction early and often.
So Van Fleet keeps his opening 7, and Schulz forced to go down to 6. Again, a card like Disciple of Bolus can help mitigate some of the mulliganing that Zachary's deck has to deal with, but similar to Jund, it's not one of those decks that really can afford to go down very few cards. I mean, there's some decks that mulligan well. This deck does not seem like one of those decks that mulligan well.
You beat me to it, actually. This does not seem like a deck that mulligans very well at all. If you go past 6, I find it's going to be very difficult to win.
Yeah, and obviously saying that seems obvious, but there are some decks that are fine, but most of them play islands,
Yeah.
Wow, so Zachary forced to go down to 5 now. Yeah, that's, it's unfortunate because both the first game and the second game were really close matches. So
I'm not gonna call this one just yet. I'm not gonna throw in the
towel,
no. But it's gonna be difficult.
Hey, 3 lands, Blind Obedience, and Vampire Nighthawk are fine.
Yeah, that's actually quite a good start.
Opener.
Yeah,
he doesn't need much.
It's funny because Blind Obedience would do an insane job at undoing a mulligan, like in this matchup.
Yeah,
it would do a nice job of undoing a mulligan. It really accounts for. It feels like 2 or 3 cards in this matchup, just making all those haste creatures so much slower, not having to worry about getting punched in the face by a Hellrider so much or a Flint of 4.
Yeah, especially on the play.
Yeah.
The question is Van Fleet going to be able to have a Domri here? I still think Domri is going to be one of the key cards here, because especially if Zachary does have the Blind Obedience. I think Domri is probably the only way that Red-Green can kind of beat a Blind Obedience.
2.
So it looks like he has at least 1 land.
He's got 2 lands, 4. All right, so he's
not bad.
He's got a Godless Shrine, he's got a Swamp.
He's got a Nighthawk too.
Yeah, he's got a Restoration Angel. He's got cards he can play with.
Yeah, not a bad 5-card hand. He's got a removal spell, he's got a Nighthawk, and he's got a Restoration Angel and 2 lands. So if he draws a 3rd land, I think he's in reasonable shape.
And Van Fleet starting off with a Mountain on a green land, so got to be pretty happy about that.
So there's a Mutilate, another removal spell, but again, needs that mana.
There's a Rootbound Crack. So green mana here for Van Fleet.
So it looks like we're going to have, an Ooze. So I think it's a little bit better than a... Oh,
all right.
Slams that
all
Blind
right.
Obedience.
If it's not going to be a land, that's a good place to be.
Yeah, not the worst thing. So Scavenging Ooze on Adam's side of the board doesn't have double green currently. So Zachary doesn't have to fear a Strangleroot yet. But it looks like we're going to see...
Tap creature, most likely. Yeah, another Scavenging Ooze.
So Nighthawk, if it can come down here, would be huge. Fortunately, it does not. Looks like he drew another Nighthawk, yet he doesn't have a 3rd mana, so that's really unfortunate.
In classic Wolf Run, again, these creatures are not going to have haste. If he does have a Hellrider, he's going to get some triggers off of this. But he does not have a Hellrider either. So Van Fleet going to come across for 4. Schulz going to go down to 14.
And it looks like Van Fleet has an Arbor Elf, which isn't effective right now because there's no forest in play, but he has a Rampager, so wow. 8 points of power on the board here for Van Fleet, and Schulz still can't find it. There's the third mana, and here comes Vampire Nighthawk. Unfortunately, if Van Fleet has a 5th mana, that Thundermaw is going to come down. Even though it will come down tapped, it will tap that Nighthawk.
Yeah, which is a big deal.
So let's see, what does Van Fleet have here? Ooh, Hellrider. Again, comes into play tap, but the triggers. So while Blind Obedience is stemming some of the bleeding, it just, Schulz stumbled on mana too much for it to matter. If he was able to get that Nighthawk out as a follow-up, I think he actually would have been in okay shape.
Yeah, hey, it's going to be tough. Here they come into the red zone. He does not play the Hellrider. This reeks of another Rampager, obviously.
But, I mean, there's nothing Schulz can do.
No, he's priced in the block. The question is just which creature do you block?
Yeah, and I think it's okay. I think you probably block the Rampager, to be honest, because he has that Mutilate. So I think if he draws like an Isolated Chapel, he could still mutilate the board.
Well, to be fair, Ooze would be able to remove the Rampager.
Yeah,
but 3/3. Oh, there's a Godless Shrine. Never mind. There's a Godless
he only has 1 green, I think, in play. So, yeah, he'll only be able to remove 1 creature. So if he draws a Mutavault or an Isolated Chapel, then he'll be able to actually wipe away the board here.
So Schulz ends up taking 3 there, and now here is... that is very strange.
Yeah, because the trigger would have happened still, right? So surprised he did it post-combat.
Boy, if Schulz draws a land this turn.
Isolated Chapel,
my goodness,
let's go.
if Schulz draws a land.
Oh no! Orzhov Guildgate.
Oh, no.
That would have been such a blowout if he drew the land.
All right, well, there's an Oblivion Ring to take care of the Hellrider.
Wow, are we going to see the 5th mana for the Thundermaw here? Yeah, it looks like the Thundermaw is going to be able to come down.
But it'll be tapped.
It'll be tapped, but it will survive the potential Mutilate next turn. So Zachary now is likely going to drop to 7 after this attack, and then Thundermaw likely comes down, perhaps. And I gotta say, Adam basically missed 3 points of damage last turn, correct? So Zachary would have been at 4 after this attack, and Thundermaw would have been lethal next turn. But now it looks like Zachary might actually survive another turn if he's able to mutilate, and Thundermaw does come down.
So there is your Thundermaw Hellkite. Schulz is going to go down to 7 from the double Scavenging Ooze attack. Schulz is going to quickly untap. Would not be surprised if we saw the Mutilate take care of those oozes. There's an Isolated Chapel. Not on time.
How unlucky that Isolated Chapel wasn't above the guild gate.
Yes. Now, don't forget one thing here as well, is that the Extort triggers on Blind Obedience could end up mattering this game, because he does have a 5th land now, so he can Mutilate and gain life and go up to 8 and then down to 3. Now, there's a Kessig Wolf Run in play among Van Fleet's lands, but...
So he'll be able to Wolf Run for 2 at least.
But yeah, if he draws land, it would be lethal.
But if he draws a land, it's lethal. But Schulz can play the Isolated Chapel. He can Mutilate and Extort for 1, bring himself up to 8. So he can survive if Van Fleet doesn't have another mana.
Yes.
But I think the question is does Schulz have a better play? I don't believe he does.
I don't think he does either. You're going to see him tap format. He's going to play Nighthawk and Extort. How much better is that versus Mutilating?
So he goes up to 8, but I don't know if that's enough, though. Because he can just give Trample to anything that gets blocked, right?
Draws a land.
So I guess it didn't matter anyway, because he did draw the 6 mana. So the Thundermaw would have been lethal no matter what.
This is interesting here. So I think he's going to survive it. So let's say everything attacks. The biggest guy to block is the Thundermaw. Thundermaw gets +3/+0, so it becomes an 8. 8 minus 3 is 5, 6, 7, 8,
so
9.
You gain 2.
And you go to 1.
Yeah, so you go to 1, so you will survive.
No trample.
No trample.
Whoa.
Wow. So what are we going to have here? Is this, Rurik Thar.
Rurik Ta. Rurik Ta, the Unbowed. I see.
Yes.
You are powerful, Rurik Ta. This makes a little more sense now.
This makes a little more
sense.
Yes,
so Schulz is going to draw a card.
So Schulz draws his card for the turn. He can cast Mutilate, but that won't do anything. He can play a Restoration Angel to block. The Rurik Thar has to attack each turn. So he can play the Restoration Angel. He can Extort for 1, go up to 7. He'll have to block the Rurik Thar. and he could take +3. So it looks like he's dead no matter what,
Yeah.
because the Keswick Wolf Run can target one of the Scavenging Oozes for +3, which will be 7 total damage. So, yep, that's
Schulz
game.
comes to the conclusion, and that is it. So Adam Van Fleet is moving on to the finals, defeating Zachary Schulz, who put up a pretty good effort on that mulligan to 5. But Red Green Aggro is moving on to face Domri Naya in the finals. It was, boy, if it was not